And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, I hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OC. As we have returned here with our series. Unfortunately, we missed out on Dark vs Classic Game 1. Again, they did begin without us, but we are at least jumping into game number 2 together. Game 1 was on Whispers of Gold. You can imagine how that turned out. Dark went for a big 2.5 base all-in, went for a German taxi, and he was able to break Classic and kill him. That's what happened on Whispers of Gold. But now we're loading into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Green Zerg player, the Red Zerg, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series. We'll see if we can force the ace match. It is a Classic. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Again, we are halfway through the series already, so I do apologize for that. Dark is favored. He does have a lead already, but I want to believe that Classic can make a series out of this. I want to believe we can get an ace match, but the pressure is on. Pressure is on the Protoss. So Classic is moving out. And Dark is setting up. So far, hatch into, I would imagine, gas pool. Standard setup here by Dark. And Classic will confirm. When it comes to the maps itself, I did allude to the build of choice that was chosen on Whispers of Gold, which does make plenty of sense. Whispers of Gold is a very aggressive map and known for all-ins, known for aggression. That's what Dark went for, and it's also what we expect him to go for here as well on Ley Lines. Ley Lines also one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Not as small, not as aggressive as Whispers of Gold, that is true, but still small enough. And with that, Dark, I would imagine, is going to be taking a more aggressive approach here. That's typically how he does approach this matchup. We very rarely get to see late game from Dark in ZvP. Not really what he's known for. Now though, settling in, getting his natural base, joining up. Once again, to reiterate, you may be curious, you may be thinking, oh, Dark is playing Zerg again. It's like, yes, Dark. He plays Zerg against Terran and against Protoss. He only plays Protoss against other Zerg players. Similarly to, Raynor and Clem and some of these other players, Eba as well, he does avoid the mirror matchup and plays Protoss. The question becomes, at what point does that become the standard? Like, at what point does it become standard where, like, everyone just stops playing mirror matchups and everyone just switches to Protoss, like, specifically for that purpose? Oh no, not like this. Ryung is gonna plummet. He's gonna, he's like, I just want to play TVT, and no one wants to play with him. No one. As of now, taking a third base on the way, joining up, getting to our link speed, pulling out a gas, keeping one in, so we can work towards either a +1 Evo chamber, a +1 melee with an Evo chamber, or maybe even an earlier lair. Keep an eye on Dark. As Zedep does poke in. And it's going to be forced back. Ooh, meanwhile, Classic going for a Void Ray opener. Okay, you have my attention. Adept into Shade, gets one drone goes down. Can we get two? Ooh, barely not. And barely not towards the end. Just the one drone kill. Without the Void Ray, the goal, of course, is to hunt down all these Overlords, is to keep Dark in the dark. And behind this, we could see Classic try to rush into something like Lava Depths, can go into a second Stargate, or into standard play. Where are you taking us? Where are we headed? As the initial Overlord does go down. Likewise, chasing down the Lings as well. Classic getting his third. And we'll keep an eye on that tech, as he's going to be moving out to hunt down additional Overlords. You know what? Dark, he pulls back. He's pulling back home. Spores are on the way. Queens are amassing as well. Dark is trying to secure himself to make sure he doesn't sustain too many losses. As the FSA commits, oh, they get one. One drone goes down. They barely don't quite get a second. They do for second, third drone as well. Not bad. 3 drone kills for an Adept. The Oracle barely gets away on 7 HP. Does pull out, does get away. Behind this, it's going to be a full 30 lair timing. Gases are being taken. Interesting, no Evo chamber. This is a lair before Evo chamber from Dark. Curious. Roach Warren's on the way. So Dark getting to safety roaches. Wardi towards the main. Double Oracle rotating over towards that natural. See if Dark can keep up. So far, doing well. Sends away the Void Ray. Oracles, they dip in, they get one, they get two, three. Three drones. Three drones, and they can back up from here. They should. As they don't want to stick around. And what is that lair for? It's a German taxi. Time to load everyone up here. We have Overlord Speed on the way. This is lined up for Dropper-Lords. The Dropper-Lords are going to be amassing here. It's going to be Lings, Roaches, Queens as well. Now we see the purpose of the lack of Evo Chamber and the faster lair. And here they come. Here comes that German taxi. Back at home, Classic is working towards plus stun and blink. Standard follow-up out of Classic, which means he needs more time, which means the all-in should hit before these upgrades finish. So blink and +1, they're not going to be a factor. They're not going to be a factor in this defense. The Void Ray is distracted, which means, yeah, the Drop Lords move out. Classic, he confirms. He does spot this, does confirm. Ideally, he wants to try to force the unload ahead of time. Is bringing everything together. Shield batteries are on the way. Okay, 2 cannons, 1 shield battery. Dark, going to be committing. Here come the Queens. Does blow with the Drop Lords, getting a lot of hold damage on that Void Ray. First Ravager's almost done. The Queens are getting low. Sorry, the Drop Lords, I mean. Nice force fields locking down the Queens. And the Queens are locked down. The Ravagers are stuck behind, but they do break through. Some decent force fields once again, looking down the Lings, but it may still just be too much. I say that the cannon dishing out a lot of damage to the back line. Lings are running out. And Classic, can he barely hold on? It does lose his Oracles. Oracles go down. Queens are getting low. More Stalkers are warping in. Blink is done. And Blink is now done. +1 almost as well. And Classic is holding. He's holding on. Dark unrelenting though, flooding more Lings across the map. But Dark, he cannot break through. Not able to break through. He's going to be forced back. And this is not enough damage. Dark, he's in a rough position. He's down in economy, down in tech, down in upgrades, down in everything. He had to do more damage, and he couldn't. Again, the force fields were beautiful from Classic when it came to looking down initially the Queens, and then zoning away the Lings thereafter. Dark forced further back. Now, what's important here? Dark has a 4th base just for Larva. Dark, he is not fully saturating his 3rd. He's not taking his gases. Dark is not droning. He is not droning up. He threw down a Hydrogen. He starts upgrades, and he's still making more units. Like Dark, he is still very much so all in. He's only just now making 4 drones, but very late saturation for Dark. And things are looking bleak for the Zerg player. The soup does lie. The supply looks close, but really it's more heavily in favor of Classic. The Drop Lord goes down. Queens, they get caught out as well. Brutal pickups. Losing all 3 Queens. Remember, the supply for Dark is inflated because of the Roaches and the Ravagers. Speaking of Ravagers, they get targeted down. And Dark is losing everything. Just losing everything at this point. Diving on the army. Locks down the Roaches. And Classic is snowballing out of control. The Ling reinforcements will shut this down, though. They get a decent surround. They lock down the Stalkers. Okay, Dark, he's gonna hold. Oh god, oh god. Losing a Hydra in the process. Catches out more Stalkers, but the reinforcements have arrived. And yeah, Classic, he's gonna overwhelm. Dark, he's not holding. GG gets called. And Classic ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG will play. Classic does tie things up, and now we're going all the way to the ace match. Oh. Alright, going to the ace match here. Beautiful. And we'll see how this story ends. As we're loading into a much larger map this time, we're going to be loading into Frostline. Let's go. Again, Classic was able to shut down the all-in just in time. Or survive, I should say. as I do think that a lot of it did come down to those force fields. And likewise, Classic was at least able to scout it in the center of the map, so he had some precious seconds to get ready and to prepare with those cannons and shield batteries. Was able to do so. That leads us into game 3. Now, Frost Sign is going to be an interesting one. I do not expect this build again. I alluded to it earlier, but we did actually see the same build in game 1 on Whispers of Gold. I mean, we didn't see it, but it did occur off stream. I would imagine Dark has something different up his sleeve this time, but we'll see. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frost Sign, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. It is Classic. Here we go. So far we have our standard openers, and of course welcome one and all to Frostline. Frostline is one of the larger maps of the map, that is true, but also known for aggression as well. We have very exposed third and fourth bases. Because of that, we see a lot of a 3-base aggression be quite successful. Emphasis on 3-base play, where you get up to around 66 drones, potentially up to 72 at most, 72 workers at most, which is like 3.5 base saturation with the fourth, but basically just building up towards that kind of worker count and committing across the map with Ling Hydra or Ling Roach Ravager. It's what I assume we're going to be seeing here out of Dark, but we'll see. We'll see. Apparently Dark has been very fond of those German taxi builds, of going for these big Roach Queen all-ins with Ling reinforcements. But I don't expect to see that 3 games in a row is the problem. Like, wait, we saw that in game 1 and in game 2. I don't see that happening here in game 3 again. And really, that's why it works. True. Like, you know, your opponent, they're not going to expect you to do the same build 3 games in a row, right? Copium. As the probe does tase away at the workers, just being an annoyance. Oh. As the drone gets very low, does force an overreaction at a Dark. He now transfers over towards the low ground. Behind this, ooh, Twilight Council opener. My eyes were on Dark when really they should have been on Classic. It's going to be a Twilight Council here into what exactly? Do we go for Glaive Adepts? Do we go for Dark Templar? Do we do something crazy and go into charge? We'll keep it on the gases. Now I'm leaning towards either Glaives or DTs. Pulls out of gas, Glaive Adepts. So we have 2 and 2. Typically, this is indicative of Glaive Adepts, as it is a little bit less gas intensive than a Dark Templar, for example, or than a Dark Shrine and DTs. Now, what I find most intriguing here is, okay, there we go. I was waiting for the Robo. Waiting for the Robo. So it should just be 4-gate Glaive Adepts here into a 3rd base, into an expansion. Gateways are being thrown down. We're waiting for the upgrade to commence. So it is, there's that Glaives. As we mentioned again, like pulling out of gas is the tell for this build. If you stay in gas, then it should be Dark Templar. Now, this is an aggressive start, that is true. Very aggressive here out of Classic, but it is not all in. Bear that in mind. Not all in is aggressive. No gets across the map, gets 1 drone. 1 worker falls. This is designed to get damage, that is true, but not to end the game. From here, Classic can expand. He can get a 3rd base. He can go into Immortal production as well to survive the Roach counterattack. There are plenty of ways to transition out of this. As Ling Zay threaten the dive. War Prism has arrived, and Classic is making his way across the map. Does zoom across. Lings, they're checking the expansion. Lings, they find the prism. Roach Warren's halfway done. Adepts are revealed. More Adepts on the way. And Dark, ideally, oh, he doesn't have SimCity. I mean, it's a very large entry point towards the natural anyway. But there is no attempted wall. So Adepts, they can shade wherever they so please. Where are we headed? And so there we go. We have 4 more Adepts warping in. Classic pushing forward. Shading into the mineral line. Does commit. So drone's going to be going down. So far, so good. Getting 3 drones. Gets 3 workers. Takes down the Spore. Pulling back. Shading into the main. Adepts stay at the 3rd base. So far, all the bases under fire. Does commit. Does get surrounded. Oh, that was a bit of a rough shade. The Adepts, they should clean this up. But Adepts are going down. Despite that, they break through. 4 drones already. Shading back over. Catching more. Getting up to 5 worker kills. This is okay damage. We're hoping for a little bit more. Behind this, immortal production has begun. Remember, this is merely only phase 1 of the build. As it's gotten 5 workers. Shaves off all the Lings. Can he get the expansion? Uh-oh. Got more volleys. There's a transfuse. Transfuse goes off. Saves the base. Classic should be expanding. Shades into natural. Oh, he gets in the mineral line. Ah, he gets the mineral line. Late to react. Dark losing far too much here. 6 more drones going down. This is the damage Classic was hoping for. As he's pulling Dark apart. This is too much. That's 15 drone kills. GG gets called. That is game-ending damage. And Classic will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Just far too much damage towards the end. Initially losing 5, 6, 7 drones. That was okay. That was acceptable losses. But we got up to 15 drone kills. Ay. Far too much there. And with that, the game does conclude. GG, congratulations. Classic will advance on into next round. Dark, my condolences. He is knocked out of the tournament. Unfortunately, he was late to pull away. He was late to react to the shades of the Adepts. Likewise, he could not stem the tide, and he could not attempt to delay the Adepts, or he couldn't try to delay the shades, as there was no SimCity either. So he was pulled apart then and there. GG. Behind it, Classic was working on that next step. Classic was building up Immortals. Classic was expanding, getting a 3rd base. Classic was working on, his further game, is a longer game. But Dark, he fell in the early game. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Classic will advance on into the next round. And let's find out where we're headed. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys don't have a look back yourselves. Let's go.